Not surprised though. That is so funny. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
Every once in a while, just FYI, I will look at this just to make sure we're not clipping.
Okay.
And then also to look at the time, just to make sure.
Okay.
Because I'd like to keep it under an hour.
Okay.
Because most people don't want to listen to anything longer than that.
I listen to the read, and the read be like 2 hours.
That's it.
But they also be talking about people, so it'd be funny.
Right, and I was going to say, this ain't one of them type of parties. So people ain't going to be...
Right.
People ain't going to be like...
People's not going to listen to your
for 2 hours.
Let me listen to your sad cancer story for 2 hours.
Right, for 2 hours. No, I don't want to. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Ready? All right. We just ain't here cutting up. It's all right. I know, right?
All right, I'm done.
All right, here we go. Hello, this is Yolanda Murphy, and welcome to This Exceptional Journey podcast, where you will find inspiration to live courageously through adversity, empowerment to live freely despite your past, and ignition to live boldly in your purpose, all by walking the survivor's side of life. Good people, what is up? Yolanda back with another episode of This Exceptional Journey podcast. How you been? If this is your first time, welcome. It's about time. We've been waiting. And if this is not your first time, how you been? I know the last one was a nail biter, wasn't it? It was amazing, right? But either way it goes, thank you so much for clicking over to my little corner of the podcast world and rocking with me just for a little while. As you can tell from the title, I have an amazing person with me today. But before we get to the guest, let me go ahead and, of course, plug my social media just so you have it and we can connect. First things first, Facebook and Instagram, I am at This Exceptional Journey. And then on Twitter, I am at TEJ Podcast. Please feel free across all platforms to hashtag me at TEJ Podcast. Any questions, comments, suggestions? I want to connect and I want to hear from you. So let's jump right in. We got your girl in the building. Okay.
I can't. There's so much hype right now.
All right. All the way from UCLA.
I just feel like I hope I live up to the hype.
You know what? Jamika is in the building.
I am here and it is freezing. I forgot how cold it was here.
Yeah, girl. Don't even get me started.
I haven't been gone that long, but
tell everybody what the car told you this morning.
It said low outside temperature. I said, wait, when did cars start doing this? I don't recall.
They need you to be safe and they need you to start.
They was just like, I need you to warm me up. Before we drive down this road.
Unless you don't want to be stuck on the side of the road. Right. Hello. But guys, let me just tell you, because as you can tell, we completely have too much banter going on. Jamika is also a part of the auspicious Young Adult Cancer Support Group out of the Cancer Caring Center here in Pittsburgh, PA. Jamika is actually from Pittsburgh. She born and raised, but this baby stepped on out, left us. Got an amazing job at UCLA.
She left y'all.
She left us, y'all.
I didn't leave all the way.
I mean,
y'all still let me participate, so I didn't really leave.
I mean, but we don't see her.
I'm just not here in the physical.
I mean, we don't see her.
You're seeing me right now.
I know, on the podcast. Oh my God.
See, exactly. It's fine.
Yes. So when I reached out to the members of my support group, and I was like, guys, I want everyone to be able to tell their story because everyone is so unique and different. And, as a young adult cancer survivor, we all need to feel like our voices are heard. Sure. So Jamika reached out. I was like, yeah, girl, you going to be here for Christmas? What? Yes, let's get it.
Oh, that's exactly how I heard it in my head.
No, for real, because that's what it was. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. That's why. But let me tell you a little backstory before Jamika gets into her story. So I've known Jamika since she was like knee high to a grasshopper.
Oh, stop. Literally.
So my aunt has a church, and her and her sister, and you would come with who?
My aunt and my cousin.
Yes. But I remember her being like little, like, what, 6, 7?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh my gosh. So then here's the crazy thing. The very first event I went to through the Cancer Caring Center was the paint night. And you and your sister were there, and I saw you guys across the room because you guys, I think, were sitting on the inside.
Yeah,
and
that was fun.
Me and my guests were sitting on the outside of the circle, and I kept looking like, them babies look familiar, but I haven't seen y'all since y'all were little.
Yeah.
So then, lo and behold, you know, we have our first group, and I was like, I thought that was you. Like, crazy.
I knew you.
I knew you. So crazy. Like, and now her dad is a musician at my church. I was like, it's such a small world. And then your uncle used to play at my aunt's church. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Pittsburgh is like 2 degrees of separation.
Literally. And don't be
not even a whole
black
6.
in Pittsburgh.
Because then y'all are all related.
Everyone's, like everyone.
Oh, everybody's your cousin.
Oh, okay. That's my cousin's aunt. Okay. So you my aunt. What?
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But so Jamika's here because she has an extraordinary story. She's definitely one of the people. I mean, to be honest, you didn't have a choice.
Oh, well, thank you.
Because I was gonna hunt you down. Like, even if
catch a flight. It's cool.
No, because we were gonna do it through Zoom. Like, listen, I wasn't
I told
playing
you,
games.
I'm in the computer screen. Like, hey.
Not Skype. We wasn't gonna Skype though. We wasn't gonna Skype though. You know what? But yeah, so she was definitely one of the people I was like, I definitely need you on. So I was so excited that she actually was like, yeah, girl, I got you. So let's start from jump. What is your story? Please start from the beginning.
It's real crazy.
Yes.
So when I was 24, I was about a month shy from 25 at this point. It was this one day I was feeling sick. I thought I had like the flu, a stomach virus or something. But I had woke up in the middle of the night and I started throwing up. And I was like, that was weird. But I was like dizzy. It was kind of like I had vertigo. It was weird. I called my dad like, hey, can you take me to the emergency room? I don't really feel like I should drive. I'm a little bit dizzy, but I don't know what's going on. So we went to urgent care. They gave me some fluids, sent me home with some anti-nausea medication. It's like, you should be fine. Take this every couple of hours. You'll be fine. Got home, took the medicine, threw up again. So I was like, that don't seem right. But I was like, whatever. I called, the place back. They're like, stop taking it. Oh, they're like, stop taking it. See if you feel better. So that whole night, I'm just like falling in and out of sleep, but my head starts pounding. So at this point, I call my mom. She's like, all right, we'll go to the emergency room in the morning because clearly none of this is working, but we're not going to go to the emergency room in the middle of the night because she all the way don't believe in going to the emergency room in the middle of the night because you're going to sit there. You know how black parents are. They're like,
Listen,
no.
Yes,
So she was like, if at 6 o'clock your head still hurt, we'll go to the emergency room. Yeah, so we're in the emergency room. I go in really because I had a headache at this point. Like, my head was pounding. And so they're like, okay, we're going to run a CT test.
Oh, boy.
We'll do some blood work. Or I don't even know if they did blood work at that point. They're just like, we're going to do a CT test, like a CT exam. So they get the results back, and the nurse comes in. I guess it was a nurse. I don't really know what they were. And they were like, you have some bleeding on your... No. Yeah, they're like, you have some bleeding on your brain. We think you might have cancer.
What?
I was like, they were like, we think you might have leukemia. And so in my mind, I'm like, but I came in here because I had a headache. How do we go from a headache to a brain tumor and cancer off of a headache? So at this point, I just bust into like Kim Kardashian ugly cry.
Oh, man.
My mom is like looking at me. My dad's like, it's going to be fine. Like, we'll go get a second opinion. Like, it's going to be fine. So at this point, like, there wasn't enough time for a second opinion because we're asking the doctor questions, and they're like, because we're like, why, like, how do we get to leukemia? And they're like, oh, well, her white blood cell count is a little high. And they're like, she has like 100,000 something white blood cells.
Oh, stop.
And they're like, and so we're like, okay, like, well, what's a normal blood count? Because,
We don't know.
I don't work in biology. I don't know how this works. He was like, oh, yeah, normal count is like 10,000. So we're like, oh, like, that's more than a little high. Like, you really undersold it.
Right.
Like,
Completely.
that's more than a little high.
Right.
So again, like full Kim Kardashian ugly cry in the
I can
hospital.
imagine.
And that's all I remember from that point is like being in tears. So then at that point, I had to have a drainage tube placed in my head to reduce the swelling off of my brain because of the tumor hemorrhaging. And then I spent probably 10 days in a medically induced coma.
Wow.
During that point had been moved from hospitals as well. Underwent a few rounds of leukapheresis, which is like this process where they extract your blood from your body to remove blood cells and then put it back. Like, I don't know, it sounded wild. I was like, what? Because, you know, at this point, I'm getting this all like secondhand after I wake up. So when I went to the hospital, it was November 7th, 2015. When I woke up, it was like the 17th. And because you know how when you wake up in the hospital, they're like, oh, can you tell me your name? Can you tell me the date?
Yeah.
Like
you
do you know where you are?
Like
that. So that real life happened.
Oh, snap.
And so I'm like, yeah, such and such. And my aunt's like, no. So first of all, when I woke up, my aunt was there. My aunt who lives in Georgia. So in my mind, I'm like, who died? Like, why is Aunt Niecy here? Like,
girl, what you doing?
Right.
What you doing?
But I'm the one in the hospital, but
Meanwhile.
I'm wondering why people, So, found out 10 days had gone past. I was in ICU, almost died a few times, like, had a lung collapse. There is one point, so this is funny, but it's not funny. Like,
as you laugh about it.
Right, because I think it's funny, but in real life, it was like a
and
serious
it's probably not funny, y'all.
It's not, because it was a serious situation. But while I was in the coma, like, before I came out of it, I remember waking up and feeling the oxygen tube in my nose. And you know how, like, when you're not really there, you don't really know what's happening, but I felt it, so I started pulling at it. And so I started pulling it out, and I'm like, oh, this is real long. And then I guess I passed out, but in my mind, I fell back asleep. And so when I woke back up, I had like these little boxing mitts on my head. I was like, yo, these hospital people hate me because they don't put the boxing gloves on me.
They
They're
said
like,
you ain't gonna do it today.
Yeah, they're like, you're not gonna endanger your own life.
No, we're trying to save you.
Right.
Okay, and you're trying to.
They're like, we've gone through too much to
right
save
at
you.
this point. Listen, okay.
Yeah, so I was that hospital patient. But yeah, so final diagnosis ended up being chronic myeloid leukemia, or CML, which I refer to it as the old white man cancer, just because it typically affects older white males.
Okay.
So for me to have it was kind of an anomaly, especially because I'm black and because I was only 24. But essentially it is a type of leukemia that's caused by a genetic mutation. It's where your 9th chromosome and I think your 21st or 22nd chromosome, a piece of them break off and switch places. Right? I'm like, how does this even happen?
I read about that. I went to a training this year in San Diego for what's called Project Lead.
I love San Diego.
Yes.
It's so pretty there.
No, I'm talking about the training. She's talking about San Diego. Okay.
Tell us what happened.
Right,
tell us what happened at the training. I'm sorry.
But we learned about some of that.
What did you learn about blood cancer?
We learned. You're so stupid. We learned like the research and scientific side of breast cancer specifically, but we learned that happens and it's like this complete and utter like crash, it has to be a perfect storm in order for that to take place.
I got it. I don't know how.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there was that, but then there was also still this brain tumor that nobody knew where it came from. Nobody thought it was cancerous. So it's still there. I still have it. It's, me and my tumor are besties. We have regular checkups too. But it just so happened to be that the leukemia had caused the tumor to hemorrhage. And that's how we found everything. Okay. So like had the cancer not been as bad as it was, I wouldn't have found out about either of them. I just would have been out here living crazy, apparently.
Literally.
Because it's crazy because in hindsight, like there definitely were signs that I had leukemia. Like I would have these large bruises that I didn't really know where they came from. But when you light skin, you feel like you just run into anything and you end up with a bruise. So you don't think nothing about it. You just be like, oh, I must have ran into something. But they were like real big. I remember this one time my friend was like, are you okay? Like, is somebody
Do we
like,
need to talk?
right? Like, are you in a domestic abuse
Right,
relationship?
what's
Like,
going on?
what's happening? And I'm like, oh no, I must have just like ran into something. She's just like, that don't hurt. Like, look at how. I'm like, nah. But so yeah. So if you ever see a bruise, guys, and it looks suspicious,
Right, and you didn't bump it into anything.
yeah, you should go get that checked out.
Please go get it checked
Don't be like me. So yeah, it just so happened that there's sort of two very unrelated situations that kind of came to a head at once.
Okay.
So yeah, I spent probably about 3 weeks in the hospital. So probably like 2 weeks in ICU, a week on sort of the regular cancer floor. That's what I call it. I know that's not what it's called, but
That's what we're gonna
the regular cancer floor. So lots of good friends over at UPMC.
Yo, shout out to UPMC.
Yes.
Shout out.
Right, really though.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a lot.
Right, it's a lot. I be
that's
trying
a
to make it
lot.
funny because it's a lot.
Yeah, because it is a lot. But I mean, that's the reality, though,
yeah,
right?
It's a lot.
Excuse me. So now this was what 2015.
2015.
Okay. And then did you have to do like any chemo or like radiation, anything like that?
So that's the thing about CML. You don't have to do infusion chemotherapy. They have a chemotherapy pill. It's called like a TKI, tinkinase inhibitor. Something I don't know. I don't know these words. Right? I don't know how you say these words. But essentially, it's a chemotherapy pill. It's an oral pill that I have to take daily. So I'm still continuously in treatment. Okay. Whereas with, some other cancers, like, you do IV chemotherapy for a little while, you do your radiation, you're done. That's it. You go back for your regular checkups. It's very possible I'll have to take this medication for the rest of my life, which I'm not looking forward to because side effects.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I actually just had an appointment with my oncologist in LA, and I had been talking to her, like, is it a possibility for me ever to get off this medication? And so with CML, you don't have a sort of official remission. You have what's called a major molecular response, or MMR, which is where your leukemia cells are under 0.1%.
Okay.
So once you hit that marker, you're in what we call major molecular response. Okay. So she was like, if you're in MMR for 2 years, then we could potentially explore the possibility of you coming off your medication.
Okay.
And so actually 2 weeks ago now, officially makes 1 year.
Wonderful.
Of being an MMR, so I'm really excited about that.
Absolutely.
I was like,
yes.
I might be able to get off this medication after all. So that was really exciting because I thought I was going to have to take it forever.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and that's a long time, girl. You're
right,
still young.
Especially when you're 20, like, when you go from being 24 and somebody telling you you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life when you were a relatively healthy person otherwise, you're like, what you mean I gotta take this?
Like, what are you saying?
I used to ask my oncologist that all the time. Like, so I really gotta take this all the time? So I'm like, what does it mean? Like, am I going to be able to have kids? Is that so? I honestly don't even really like children. I don't know that I want to have kids still. But I think for me, it was definitely a question I wanted to ask my doctor, because it was like, there's a difference between you choosing not to have kids and somebody telling you you can't have them.
Correct.
And so I think that really freaked me out.
Yeah.
Like, I still probably don't want to have them. But it was just like,
you have
the
option.
Right, I have the option.
Yep.
So it was wow. And I was just like, he was like, oh no, if you ever want to have kids, like, we can take you off it for that amount of time, da 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 da. But it's like, it's weird. Like, it just, you really have to think about life in a whole different way. And I think that was probably the scariest part of being diagnosed. It was like, life as I know it is over. Like, I can never go back to being the Jamika I was before cancer.
Isn't that crazy?
It's like the saddest thing, but it's
It
like,
is. It really it just
like,
throws me for a loop every time I think about it. Like, I had a scan the other week, like my regular mammogram I get, and just the process of it. Like, I mean, who likes mammograms? I mean, let's be honest. They're like squeezing your tit. Like, sorry, mom, squeezing your breast. I'm sorry.
Never get a full spine
girl, you
MRI. I got one of those recently.
What?
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep in the machine, but that joint took an hour and a half.
Why it take so long?
I
Is that
don't know.
Usual?
I guess for a spine, yeah.
Okay.
Normally I just get my head, but this time I had to get my spine because of where my tumor is located. They like want to make sure like a piece of it didn't break off.
Yeah.
It took an hour and a half. I was like,
they had to have knocked you out.
No, they don't put you to. Not unless you're claustrophobic, they won't put you to sleep.
Girl,
but
listen, my doctor told me that he wanted me to get an MRI.
And you said
like
put me to sleep
3 months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago, because I had been getting dizzy. And I was like, no, I think it's because I'm dehydrated, because I hadn't been like drinking water, and all I've been drinking was beer and coffee. That was it.
Oh, you're
Playing whole games.
not even juice. Nothing.
No, I don't drink juice, and I barely drink tea. But no, coffee and beer. That's all I was drinking.
Drink juice.
I don't. So I was like, no, but I think, and it was a long period of time. Like I'm one of those people. I try to drink like at least a gallon a day, or at least half my weight, which is a gallon anyway.
I'm trying to do that. I met with a nutritionist recently.
Oh, for real?
And he was like, yeah, you should try to drink half your body weight in water.
Yep.
And I have like this really big 101 ounce water bottle because, but I can't finish that in one day. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not going.
You got to start early, girl. You got to start early and get it done.
Yeah, but then you gotta go to the bathroom every hour.
Well, that just means your kidneys will be clear. You better drink that water. I'm not playing with you.
I sit at a desk all day.
I do too, so you have no excuse.
But it's a lot. They'd be like, oh, excuse me. Like, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Like, no.
People will understand.
Will they?
No, they will.
They won't.
Then just pull the C card. Oh, I had cancer.
So that's the crazy part. Like, most of the people at my job don't even know that I have cancer.
Really?
Yeah, I honestly haven't told a lot of people.
I mean, that makes sense.
Just because it's like, one, I don't want you to look at me. Like, when people know you have cancer,
it's altogether
they
different.
view you very differently. Like,
especially if they're not family or...
Right.
Yeah.
And especially if they didn't know the person you were before you had cancer.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of just like, oh, are you okay? Like, and with my job especially, there are definitely peak periods of time where we're very active. And so I was just like, I don't want anybody to know because I don't want them to think I can't do my job,
very true.
or that I need extra help,
very true.
Or, you know, like, I didn't want to be treated differently. I wanted to, you know, go into my new job and pull my weight.
Absolutely.
And so for me, it was just like, so like really most of the people on my team just found out in July. Which is really bad considering I started that job last August. Right. But it's fine. I mean, you know, I just like, it was kind of one of those need to know basis type
I mean,
things.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
So,
because that, I mean, people face that all the time.
Yeah. So it was different. They was like, really? Like everybody I've ever told, they're like, really?
Right.
Because, you know, everybody has this image that, you know, a cancer survivor should be sort of like this frail, sickly looking person. And you're like, actually, no.
Actually not.
Actually, I'm trying to live my best life too.
Hello. And I will be.
Let me do that.
Let me live my best life. So, no, I get it. I completely get it. And that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, like you said, you don't want them to look at you any different. Right. Or you don't want them to think you can't do your job. Right. When in actuality, that's why I got hired. Hello. But yeah, girl. So I get that. And then, you know, I understand with the MRI. I don't know why that would have taken so long. Like, I would have been. So I am claustrophobic. I say all that to say. Are you okay? No.
So you was like, I'm really not trying to get that.
So like I said, he told me he wanted me to get one, and I was like, oh, okay. So I went back recently. He was like, did we ever get that MRI? How's the dizziness? I said no. I didn't get it. I said I felt better. Oh, okay.
You like.
So then here you go, writing in my chart. Did not get MRI. I was like, how you feel about it? Like, how you? No, because y'all really gonna have to knock me out.
You gonna have to get one eventually, just to make sure.
I don't wanna.
I mean, it's loud.
No, I've had MRIs.
But
like in the very beginning, before I got any treatment or anything done, I got a full breast MRI.
Okay. So
and she had to pull me out like 3 times.
Oh, really?
Girl.
You was one of them people?
Girl, I mean, I used to get MRIs on my knees and my ankles, you know, playing sports and stuff
it's
all the
different
time.
when your head is in there, though.
When it's your head and it's the top part of your body, when it's your knee, I mean, they put you in like maybe up to your neck.
Right.
But when it's your head and the top part.
I know.
No, she literally, and then, I don't know about the one you had, but did you have to lay on your back or on your stomach?
On my back.
this one, for the breast one, they have this little thing.
You gotta lay on your stomach like you on a massage table?
Girl, not only do you lay on your stomach, but they got this cutout where your boobs hang out. So here I am. So it's not even just.
I'm sorry, that's not funny.
But listen, so it's not even just that I'm laying on my stomach. There's a cutout for my boobs to hang, and then your head is in like a thing where you get a massage.
Yeah.
So yes, I was freaking out. Then she put a blanket on top. Then they put headphones on me. I said, "This is too much."
So like, what can you see? Do you see the floor?
No, because
like,
there's a
you
mirror.
See the bottom. Oh, so you see you.
No. There's a mirror that slants up so you can see the ceiling.
Right.
So they try to make it seem as if it's not as small as it is.
That's weirder.
Girl.
I'd rather just be able to see the floor.
No, how about I just want you to knock me out? I don't want to be able to see nothing. Like literally, and they give you the little thing, to squeeze. Girl,
yeah,
squoze that
if you want to get out.
Squoze. Look, squoze. So hood. Girl. I was like.
I'm sorry, this isn't funny, but
she was like, "Here I come." I was like, she was like, "Don't move, don't move." I was like, "Hurry up."
They'd be like, "Please don't move," because then we got to start the whole thing over again.
And she was like, "Okay, calm down. Calm down." I was like, "You think I'm playing?"
This is not funny, but it is.
So that whole hour and a half MRI would have not worked for me.
Oh no!
I would have been like, "Are we almost done?" Oh,
I told you that's why I fell asleep, and I got mad at night. It was a lot happening.
No, they would have had to put me to sleep. Don't even play no games.
Oh no, I fell asleep.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Me too. Because I was like, wait.
And you were still then, huh?
I was like, how much longer we got? I think the person like saw my leg moving or something, and they were like, "Oh, we're almost done."
Oh, did you forget about me? Y'all just in there lunching.
Look,
Get the heck out of here.
I was just like, oh, this is long.
No, that's horrible. That should
and then, sometimes you got to get the contrast IV too. So, it's like, I usually know when the contrast is coming, it's almost done. Usually it's like a smooth half an hour once they give you.
Look, we professionals. Ain't that horrible?
You can time it out.
Professionals to the game at a young age. Girl, I've had so many MRIs and listen, that's crazy. But that's crazy. So you were in, you take the chemo pill.
Yes.
And then.
Luckily, that's all I have.
I was going to say, was there anything else to go with that?
No. So when I was first diagnosed, I definitely had more regular hospital visits, I guess. Because while I was in the hospital, I had to get like blood transfusions. I had to get platelets. I didn't even know you could get platelets. I was learning all type of stuff about the blood bank. It's amazing. Thanks, Charles Drew, for the blood bank. So yeah, I would have to get transfusions of platelets and blood. Because at that point my blood was just trash. They were like, we can't just leave you with your regular blood.
Right,
no, it's
not
not working out.
It's not gonna work.
And I had a PICC line.
Oh yeah.
Just because I was getting a lot of blood drawn and I was getting platelets, and so they was like, we just gonna give you that because that's easier than us poking you every time. But that was kind of like the extent of like major stuff for me. I have gotten a few bone marrow biopsies in my day. Funny story about that.
Yeah.
So
it's not funny, but
but it is.
You got to make light of it.
You do. So I took my sister and my cousin with me to my bone marrow biopsy this one time. And so my sister and my cousin came back in the room with me. Technically, you're only supposed to have one guest, but
always breaking the rules.
My nurses loved me, so they made accommodations. So my sister is holding my hand. First of all, we had my other cousin on FaceTime because she's a nurse. Like, it just didn't make no, like,
what?
We was breaking all kind of rules. I'm sorry, but she was a nurse. Like, it's fine. So my sister is holding my hand, and she's like, "Mika, what does it feel like?" And I was like, "It kind of feels like I'm a tree being sapped, like getting the tree sap." Like, she was like,
what?
I was like, like a tree being tapped for syrup or something.
You know what?
And she was like, how do you know what that feels like? I was like, I don't, but I imagine this is what it would feel like. Like, this is probably what the tree feels like when the syrup comes out, because my back hurts and I can feel it leaving my body. She was
like a tree being sapped.
So if you ever want to know what a bone marrow biopsy feels like,
there it is.
Just imagine that.
A tree being sapped. Imagine that, and that's
Y'all,
what
like,
it feels like.
I know the hospital people was so tired of me, like, on so many levels.
What was I
but
gonna do?
I brought all the laughs every time.
Good.
As a cancer patient, I know they was like, she's the happiest cancer patient we ever seen in our life. Because why is she laughing?
I can understand, girl. You had to make the best of it.
You really do,
Yeah.
because you, especially when you're at like cancer centers, because you're often the youngest person in the room.
Always.
And because I guess younger kids just get to go to the children's hospital and have their treatments. But when you're a young adult, there's no place just for you.
We're like stuck in the middle. Like,
so they're like, all right, we're gonna put you with the older people, and you just be looking around like, what am I?
Right.
I don't know how to start a conversation with you. I can't just be like, oh, so what type of cancer do you have?
Right.
Like,
No, that's not a. First of all, let me ever find out I'm at Hillman, waiting in the waiting room. Because, I mean, you know, being one of the youngest people in the room, we always get the looks. Like,
yeah. Like, what you doing here? You here with
right,
your mom?
like, what you doing?
You
And then they see you have on the bracelet, and they like, oh, snap.
Oh,
Like,
what you got?
but you can't, like, really open up, like, what you got? Like, you can't.
I remember I seen somebody I knew.
Oh,
I was like, oh, how you been? They was like, oh, how you been? I was like, well, obviously not that well since I'm here.
Holy crap. Did
I
you say that?
didn't mean to make them feel bad like that, but it was like,
Jamika.
if we're both on the 4th floor, like, clearly I'm not.
I mean, clearly it's not going as planned.
I'm gonna get my life together, I promise.
No, that's funny,
it was just,
because
in my mind, it was funny. It just didn't come out.
No, we're both
It's
in the Cancer Caring Center.
Like,
You know, we're both in support group. I don't know.
But no, this was at Helmet. Like,
Oh, shut up.
it's like, oh, how you been? It was somebody I went to, like, middle school with. And I was like, and they were like, oh, how you been? I was like, well, you know, I'm okay. Not that great since I'm here, but, you know, like, I'm cool. How you been?
Let's just forget where we are and just hold casual conversation.
My mom was like, you know him? Like, what?
That's so funny.
She had so many more questions. Like, I'm just like,
No, I would have too.
I'm like, just come on, Mom. Like,
we're in the Hillman Cancer Center. How do you think?
I'm like, Mom, you're making a scene now. 'Cause now she's like, you know, your mom always be trying to match make you. So she's like, oh,
girl,
you know
don't even get me started.
You know other people with cancer that might be. Like, in my mom's mind, she's totally trying to hook me up with James Conner. And I'm just like, Mom, that's not how this works.
He got the looks.
He is cute.
He
but
got
like,
a nice booty. You know the running.
Look at you, cougar somebody.
I know, right?
Like,
I'm sorry. I can only.
Are you sorry? You're not really sorry.
I mean, I'm just saying. Like, I noticed what I noticed.
Because in her mind, like, it was destined to be. Because we were literally diagnosed around the same time. His story far more interesting to mine, to me. Because I'm just like, you're, like, out here living life.
No,
like,
for real.
I would never be able to make that quick.
Listen.
Like, I was on medical leave for 4 months. Like,
oh, really?
I was just like, I can't.
Well, that's a lot, though.
I was like, I because it was crazy. So because I was in the hospital for so long, I was like, I don't want to go to an outpatient rehabilitation center. I want to go home. But of course, I lived in a 3rd floor apartment with a lot of stairs. So they was like, actually, you can't go to your house.
No.
So my aunt let me go to her house for a few weeks because, you know, all her stuff was on 1 floor. So they was like, you know, she was down the street from the hospital. They're like, okay, we feel comfortable sending you there. And so I had, you know, an in-house nurse. I had occupational therapy for a little bit, physical therapy. I was on a walker for shut up. I felt like I was really a senior citizen after this diagnosis.
Oh,
like,
my God.
When they gave me that walker, I was like, I for real need this, y'all? Like,
well, you needed it apparently.
I did, because I hadn't been walking for like a month. I was sitting in the hospital bed for like a month. So they're like, actually, you do need this walker.
You do.
I remember
take it.
I used to always try to get out of my hospital bed when I was in the ICU. This is why I know.
What are you doing?
I'm not smart, because, you know, I be trying to get up, and you know how they got the alarms on the bed, so they know when you're trying to get up.
They do.
They would be like, Mika, where you going? Oh, I'm going to the bathroom. You have a catheter. Sit back
You're not
down.
going anywhere.
Sit back down.
Sit down, baby.
You know, I was getting antsy. I had cabin fever in the hospital. I'm like, why am I still in this bed?
I can understand, because...
So, yeah, worst hospital patient ever, but it was fine. It's also very weird to have people you don't really know call you your nickname.
Uh-oh.
So... This is a whole, like, different side note.
Okay.
But you know how, if you've ever noticed in the hospital, they'll have a board that has the patient's name. So because my family calls me Mika, they just assumed that was, like, my preferred name. So that's what the hospital staff would call me. But you have to remember, I was in a coma for 10 days.
Yeah.
So when you wake up and everybody's calling you Mika, you're like, how do I know you? Like,
am I missing something?
Right. Like, I thought all this other stuff was wrong with me when I woke up. They would come in and check my blood sugar because I was like, wasn't eating real food. So I'm like, I was like, oh my God, do I have diabetes now? Like,
girl,
oh my goodness, it gets so
thing.
much worse.
Right. All from one thing.
I was creating whole new ailments because I was just like, I don't
gosh.
understand what's happening. But yeah, just like random stuff like that. But it's just.
But that's stuff you'll always remember.
Right.
Through the process. Right. You know what I mean? Like, years later, you'll probably run into one of them nurses. She'll be like, Mika.
Yeah, I'm going to go visit my doctor while I'm home. And he's definitely going to call me Mika. It's going to be hilarious.
That is so funny to me.
Yes.
Girl, you better be close with your doctor. Hey, Mika. How you doing, girl? You saved my life. I'm great.
Yes.
Thank you.
I sent them Christmas cards. I love these people.
Oh, my gosh. That is beautiful.
They really did save my life, though.
Literally. And here's the kicker. You know, I tell people all the time, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, we kind of make cancer look good, if that makes sense. So people don't recognize the other side of the struggle.
For sure.
Because just like we are right now, we're being ourselves, but we're talking about our stories. We're talking about our diagnoses. But because, you know, we know, oh, we good. Okay, you know, I got to make the best of this. We're making light of it. But honey, listen, you are absolutely correct. These are babies that actually saved my life. Like, legit. I remember after I finished chemo, I did 4 rounds. Every 3 weeks I did one.
Ooh.
And I know, girl, it was horrible. Like, it was, anyway. But the nurse, like the very first nurse I had my very first round, she was amazing. Older, I forget her name. Elaine, I think her name was.
It's okay. She remembered you, though.
But listen, so the very first time I had her, the second time I went in, I said, nope, where's Elaine?
Right.
This baby kept trying to stick me, and she kept missing it. I said, where's Elaine? Can you get Elaine? So she found Elaine. She was helping, you know, other, I was about to say other customers. Child, we ain't buying this. She was helping other patients, and she was like, I'm just going to stick with you from now on. I said, thank you, Elaine. So from there on out, Elaine knew exactly where I like to be stuck. She knew how to give me my dose. Because, you know, because I don't know if you know, but with infusion chemo, like they give you that cocktail in the beginning. Like they give you Benadryl.
That's what I got, Benadryl with Tylenol before they gave me my platelets.
And then they give you
best nap ever.
Girl, ain't it? I would be gone in like 15 minutes. My mom would be like, dang. I said, my system is lightweight. Like, I don't take medicines.
My mom used to be like, Mika, we're done. You can wake up.
Somebody got to drive me, honey. But I remember, like, from there on out, I was like, Elaine's like my A1. Like, but you're right. These babies are saving our lives. Like, and even if they're just doing their job, they're doing their best by me.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And
I was sad when my nurse who did my first bone marrow biopsy left. I was like, what you mean Shannon not here no more?
Ooh, shoot.
Who's supposed to do my
Right. Who's doing, like, no one else is qualified.
My doctor was like, no, such and such is going to do it. It's fine. Like,
yes.
She's very well qualified. I'm like,
but
well, where is Shannon?
Right. But she's not her. Like, where is she at? Yeah, I understand. Because while I was doing my radiation, one of the young ladies left. I said, where are you going?
Right. What you mean?
Are you going on vacation?
Right.
She said, no, I got a job at. Okay. Oh, no. Can you leave after I'm done?
Right.
I
Do I need to switch hospitals?
Right. Like, where are you going? Oh, my gosh. So crazy. But that's crazy. I mean, I'm grateful for
sure.
everyone, you know what I mean, whose hands or care I was in. Because like you said, like, it could have been another way.
It could go any kind of way. Like... And it's so funny because you never realize what types of relationships you form with your hospital staff until something else happens or until you leave. And I think for me, especially with me moving across the country now, I didn't realize how comforting it was to have them for that length of time until I was gone. Because they knew me like the back of their hand because they had been there since my case started. And so really sort of restarting with a new set of doctors in LA was like terrifying. Because it was like, now I have to pick my own doctors and I have to go to appointments by myself now because like my mom was going to every appointment with me. Like she didn't care. She was like, oh, when your appointment? She didn't know nothing the doctor was talking about. She would ask me about it after, honey. But she was sitting there like, okay, but so you said this. Well, what is it? Like, I'm telling you. So, but it's really interesting and sort of reassuring to know what kind of relationships you create with your medical staff, because it also makes you feel more comfortable that they're treating you like they would their family. And so, and I think that's all anybody really wants is to know is that, like, if I was your sister,
right, how would you
treat
me?
Would this be the recommendation that you make? And, you know, I had my neurologist, my neurosurgeon, while I was in the hospital. It was so first of all, I gotta tell you about this haircut because it was wild.
All right, so this is
you
what's so
gotta
funny.
add the picture.
This baby, right? I was gonna say I'm probably gonna add the picture in the video. This baby sends me this picture. She's telling me this story about what was it that you got?
The George Jefferson cut.
No, but what was it for? What procedure did you have?
Because I had to have a drainage tube placed to relieve the blood that was pooling on my brain.
So this baby sends me this picture. She was like, I was so mad. I said, I understand where you coming from. Like, they should have cut it all off, but baby, they was trying to save your life. But go ahead.
Right. So here's what happened. Remember, y'all, like, I went into the coma. I don't know what happened. So when I wake up, why I was going to go take a selfie in the first place, I don't really know. From the hospital bed.
Why?
I guess I was just excited I was alive. I wanted to take a picture. I also wanted to see how bad did I look really. Because my lips was feeling extra dry, and they was.
Girl, didn't nobody hook you up while you was out?
They was trying, but there's only so much they could do. Because, you know, at one point, my lung had collapsed, so I had the trach and stuff, so it was over for my lips.
Yeah, no.
But so I got the George Jefferson cut with the bald spot in the middle, because that's where they needed to put the drainage tube. Apparently 2 of those happened. So I got this big patch in the middle. And mind you, I had like a shortcut at that time, you know, think like Halle Berry boomerang type cut. But so, you know, there's no hair to comb over this bald spot in the first place. And, you know, it's a little stubble at this point because I had been out a while. I had time for the hair to grow back a little bit. But imagine waking up and that's what you see. I can't imagine. I was traumatized.
I can't imagine.
Nobody told me that's what I looked like. So when I see my sister, I said, Judy, for real? You wasn't like nobody told
y'all could have shaved my whole head in that
That's
time.
what I kept. I said, y'all couldn't have just shaved all of it off. She was like, what's wrong? You look alive. I was like, I mean, true, but like, I look like Krusty the Clown on The Simpsons. Like,
very much so.
What is this?
Yeah.
So I say all of that to say my one neurosurgeon, he would come visit me every day. I used to be so excited to see him because, you know, it was like visitors. Yeah. Like, granted, my family came every day too, but, you know, like they had jobs. They got stuff to do. So nobody can't be there all the time. So he would pop in before he did his rounds. He'd be like, oh, Mika, how you doing today? And I'd be like, Dr. Faraji, why y'all didn't just cut it all off? And so after a while, he started feeling bad. He was like, you just want me to go get a pair of clippers? Like, we could do this right now.
Right.
Like, I was like, you know what? No. I'm going to just wait until I leave, and I'm going to go to the barbershop, and I'm going to just get it cut off. It's fine. Like, my saving grace at this point was that it was wintertime, so I could just wear hats.
Galore.
I was wearing all the
You was hooking them up?
All the hats.
Well, at least he offered.
He did, and I appreciate him for that. He got a Christmas card this year, too.
Oh, my gosh.
So, like, my homie, he came to visit me all the time. All the time before he went on rest.
That is
Mika,
so
how you doing
funny.
today? How you feeling?
That is so funny.
Your head okay? Okay.
Your head all right?
Man, for
like
real.
George Jefferson.
Look, let me tell you, the day before I was supposed to get released from the hospital, I guess, like, the stitches on my head, they had taken the stitches out, I think, at this point, but it like started leaking, and it was like there was like this pink stain on my pillow, and I was like, yo, what does this mean? Does this mean I can't go home now? Like, what does this mean?
I need somebody to look at this.
I was panicking because I was like, if I can't go home on Thanksgiving, I'm fighting everybody in this hospital.
We're going home.
Like, I'm fighting everybody in this hospital, but I still can't go home.
I mean, after all that time, I can understand.
So my nurse came and got me. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. She's like, yeah, we're going to go do an MRI. I'm like, at 3 o'clock? Like, y'all got to do it right now?
Right.
But I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. Like, I'm up now. Like,
I mean, it's only 3.
Right. Like, you know, I don't got nowhere to be. Like, y'all
You're so
probably not
dumb.
about to let me go home anyway. So, like, let's just do it.
Let's just get it done.
Look, I'm the worst.
Listen,
I told you,
so
I'm the worst.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. But I was okay. I was able to go home.
Well, good.
It was fine. That was
Good.
exciting.
After the 3 a.m. MRI.
Yo. Oh, man, we're in the hospital. You have no concept of time.
None.
Because people are always coming in every couple of hours to take blood or to run tests. So you really don't even know what time it is anyway. But you just be watching the TV like, oh, I think it's such and such time. Because this
What's
is
on?
This is what's on TV.
What's on? I know that's right. So was there like a history of cancer in your family?
No.
What?
No.
So it just came out of
Nobody
nowhere,
else in my
literally.
family, as far as I know, has leukemia.
Wow. That's
Just,
crazy.
just little old me.
Just little old you.
With my old white man cancer.
With your old white man cancer.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is.
So is it, you said it's a gene, so can people be tested for this gene?
It's a genetic mutation.
Genetic mutation, I'm sorry.
So I don't know. So it's called a Philadelphia chromosome.
Oh.
It has a name. I know,
Okay.
right? Wow. So I don't know. I haven't done that much research into it because I'm like, at this point, if you can't correct the mutation, what's the point of researching it? But
can other people have it in your family?
I don't know.
Okay.
And that's the thing. I think because it's a mutation, there's no sort of genetic markers that indicate you're going to be the person that gets it.
Okay.
I think it's just kind of something that happens. Somebody, I'm
Okay.
sure somebody will see this and correct me. So,
I mean, it happens.
but
Excuse me.
I was just like, oh, this is wow.
That is
like,
crazy. That is crazy. So, what have you been doing since then? I mean, of course you moved.
Everything.
Hello.
I know, right? You know, just out here trying to live my best life.
Living my best life.
You know, not trying to be sorry for myself. And that's the one thing I will say about cancer. It really made me reevaluate where I was in my life, what I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do. And so for me, I had always wanted to live in LA. And so after getting cancer, I was like, all right, like, you need to do this now because you don't know how much longer you're going to have. Like, not that there's like a high fatality rate for CML, but with any cancer, there's always that margin of error that, you know, you could be the person who doesn't make it. And so I think for me, it was just like, all right, well, with however many days I have left, I'm going to do all of the things that I really want to do and try all, because, you know, you regret the things that you don't try. And so for me, it was like, all right, if I go to LA and I fail, I can always come back home.
At least I tried.
Home is not going nowhere, and then I won't have to wonder, oh, well, what would happen if I moved to LA? So yeah, I moved to LA.
Yeah, I remember the group that you announced it. I was like, wait,
Yo,
what?
it happened so quickly. Like, I literally had a month to move across the country.
Crazy.
And I felt so bad because I told everybody last minute. Like, I even told my oncologist, like, the day before I was moving. He was like, when are you moving? I was like, tomorrow. He was like, what? Like, he looked at me like, I didn't tell you you could move. Like, what do you mean you moving tomorrow? So, do better than me. But, yeah, it was just like, I was like, I really don't know how much time I have left. I don't, and it sounds, I know it's going to sound weird to say this, but to me, it was like God kind of reassured me that I was going to be okay. I can't really explain why or how, but he was kind of just like, yeah, that's not your time yet.
Right.
Like, this is not how you're going to die. So, like, you know, do what you need to do.
Do what you need to do. And you didn't want to have to regret it later.
Right.
You know
and
what I
so
mean?
I was just like, all right, let me find this way to move to LA. And I had got a job at UCLA, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go. Like, this is kind of the perfect storm of being able to make it work, because I'm not one of, like, so I went to school for costume design, but I can't live that struggling artist lifestyle.
Listen.
So, like, if I didn't have a job, I wasn't going, because, like, the cost of living in California.
Listen,
ooh,
you don't got to tell me.
that 9.5% tax. My heart. But it's just like, all right, I have the opportunity to go. I have the means to go. So I'm going to go. And, like, of course, my family freaked out. Because they were like, well, what happens if something happens again? Like, we're not going to be able to get to you quick enough. Da, da. So, you know, there's a lot of things that you think about within that realm, especially, you know, kind of leaving your support system of people who, you know, go to doctor's visit with you and, you know, will cook you meals and all that stuff, and kind of like uprooting yourself from that definitely is a challenge. But it's like, you don't really find your footing unless you give it a go on your own. And so, you know, the past 14, 16 months at this point definitely have been a challenge for me. Definitely independence in a whole new way. I would like to consider myself an independent person before I got cancer, but like, this is independence on a whole new level.
Yeah, altogether different.
But it was something that was necessary for me, especially in terms of really coming to terms with it, of what it means to have cancer now, and sort of reestablishing my life as a person with cancer. Because you really do, you become a new person. Like, you kind of, you have to start over. And people, because like, you're not the same person.
You're not, and you never will be.
And you never will be. And it's not all bad that you never will be. But it's just, there's certain things that your friends and your family will never understand anymore. Which is one of the reasons why I was so glad I found YACS, because I was like so resistant to it at first. Not to going, but like to the idea of a support group. And I don't know why, because it was one of the first things that my dad had said to me after I got diagnosed. He was like, yeah, you really need to find somebody to talk to. I was like,
that understands.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, Dad. Like,
your dad is smart.
You know, you be right.
Thank you, Uncle Red.
He's so intelligent.
Thank you, Uncle Red.
I need to listen the first time. But it took me like a good 6 to 8 months before I finally found YACS. And it's definitely a decision that I don't regret. And it's not, and you know, YACS is not one of those spaces where you have to talk every meeting, but it's nice to just listen and understand that you're not the only person who's going through something, or that your situation might not even be as bad as you think, because somebody's is way worse. So you need to get your life together and get your ducks in a row, because somebody else is worse, and you need to be helping them figure out their stuff.
Exactly.
And so for that reason, you know, I was definitely grateful. And it was also that motivation for me to be like, all right, I need to do this. Like, if I'm gonna go to LA, I need to do this, because you never know when this opportunity might appear again, or, you know, what you could be missing out on by not moving.
And plus, that's something you wanted to do anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So
like, I can see if it was just like, let me make adventures. No, this is something you already, like, you know how they show in the movies, how people are like, oh my gosh, I have a cancer diagnosis. Let me go do this bucket list of stuff.
That's not real life.
Yeah, no.
Because you definitely be way too tired.
Hello. Cancer fatigue is real. But it was something you already wanted to do. You know what I mean? So that was amazing.
Right. So when it happened, I was like, hey guys, I'm leaving.
We were devastated.
And y'all were like, what?
We were devastated.
So like, you leaving when?
I was so scared.
I know. Me too.
Oh my gosh. But you did it, girl.
I did. It's crazy, right? I be like, yo.
I can't wait till I can come and visit.
Please do, because I still be surprised. Like, yo, I really live in California.
Isn't that crazy how a change will happen? You'll be like even with this podcast, like, oh snap, I really got a podcast. Like, oh, I'm recording.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like,
it's crazy.
It's real life.
That's what's up though. I mean, because like you said, to touch on, like, your life will never be the same. Right. So there's really, to me, I mean, at least in my own mind, like, there's no need to try to fit my old me into my new self.
Correct.
So why not do something different? Because it's not like I'm the same person anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's take on this new in like other areas of my life.
Right.
So why not? So yeah, this podcast was one of my different things, and I was like, I mean, you know, I've always liked to talk and you know, give my personal opinion, because I'm so opinionated. But I mean, like that. You know what? Don't do that. But this was something altogether different. You know what I mean? Right. You can't just, I mean, anyone who's listening to this podcast, like, you can't just pick up a mic and be like, let's talk. Like, you can.
Right, but it might not go well.
You want to talk about the lunch you ate today? Like, no, this is not how this game works. This is not how this game works. So I'm grateful. You know, to me, this podcast is my LA, UCLA. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm grateful that, you know, I've had other, you know, guests on from the group as well. And like, most of the sentiments are, you know, this is what I had to try for me. This is what I needed to do after diagnosis, because I needed to know first of all, that I'm still a dreamer. You know what I'm saying? That I can still accomplish goals. You know, although cancer may not ever really technically be in my rearview mirror because I'll live with it forever, but that's not going to stop me. You know what I mean? That's not going to stop me from dreaming, and it's not going to stop me trying to accomplish these visions and dreams that I have. So I think that within itself is amazing. Like, girl, to pick up from Pittsburgh to go to LA. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think everyone from the north of the U.S. just would love to live in a Cali sun, like all the time. Are you kidding me?
It was 70 degrees.
Shut
when
up.
I left.
Shut up.
I'm just like, I got here and I was like,
I'm gonna just FaceTime you every other day. Like, let me just see the sun.
Right? Can I see what
Let
it
me
looks
just
like?
see the sun. Like, so I can understand why the car was mad at you. Like, it's a low temperature outside.
What?
So that's amazing. That is simply amazing. So, I mean, what do you want to do now? Like, what's next on the docket?
So many things.
Okay.
And you know, and you touched on it a little bit too. Like, I think for a certain time after diagnosis, you are kind of scared to dream and to really set goals because you're like, I don't really know how much time I have, so I don't know if I should be planning anything.
Yep.
And
it kind of
it stifles you a little bit,
and it keeps you stuck. Yeah.
It does. But you know, we getting back to some of the original checklists.
Okay.
But no, I would really like to go back into costuming. Just because that's what my undergraduate degree is in. So, you know, I would definitely love to put that Penn State degree to work.
Hello.
You know?
Paid all that money.
It's good money there. And that was a part of the move to LA as well, is to really be able to explore that again and to get back, because, you know, the dream is like TV and movies.
Okay.
So like my background is theater, but I would love to do TV and movies because I feel like it would be more fun.
No, you know Maria did that too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
cool.
yeah, I know. I can't wait to see her. She makes me laugh.
She's amazing.
She makes my heart smile.
Hi, Mia. Love you, boo.
But yeah. So like that's definitely a part of the checklist. You know, definitely want to be Oscar nominated.
Yes.
Costume designer at some point in life. So this is that step to kind of figure out if that will still happen. But yeah, you know, I'm just taking it one day at a time and all the days all at once. But
I mean, that's how it is sometimes.
Right. You're just like, all right, I need to get through this one day to get to all the rest.
Listen, I think it's crazy, and you clearly just touched on it. Sometimes you can't put it into words, but it's almost like after diagnosis, when you're a little further out and you know your health is stable and you know you're getting clear scans or clear, you know, what have you, or molecular your thing, MMR.
Those things.
MMR. It's crazy though, because I mean, again, I can only speak for me. It's crazy how you try to live for today because, like you said, you just never know. Like, it could flare up or something could happen at the drop of a dime. So it's crazy how at the same time you're living for today, but you're trying to plan but not really plan for the future. Like, isn't that a crazy place to be in?
It sounds wild, but you figure it out.
Yeah.
Because you're like, there are still things that I really want to do. And I'm not willing to give up on those because I don't have a reason to give up on those right now. No, I don't. So I'm going to still go for it. But I'm also going to wholeheartedly be in this moment today because this is the moment that I have right now. So it definitely puts you in an interesting spot. But you learn to appreciate those little moments so much more. Right. Like, I feel like I've become a much more thoughtful person. Okay. Since diagnosis, which sounds weird because I thought I was pretty thoughtful before, but like, girl, I feel like there are certain things.
Cancer will make you see stuff.
It do, like,
doesn't it? It's so introspective.
It makes you appreciate certain little things more, and so then you find yourself doing little things for other people. Cause you be like, I just want you to smile today. I'm gonna buy you this cup of coffee. I'm gonna give you this cookie.
Not give you this. You know what? I hate you. Take this cookie and coffee, girl.
Look, and that makes somebody's whole day. You just don't even know.
Listen, if somebody walked up to me, I would be like, thank you.
Right. If I handed you a coffee and a beer right now,
girl,
you would be.
I would be your best friend.
But then I'll be like, here, go this bottle of water too.
Okay. And then I would be handing it right back to you. Because apparently you ain't drinking none either.
Terrible. But yeah, it really forces you to notice some things. And I think you, to a certain extent, you become a more thoughtful person because at this point you kind of already hit rock bottom. You're like, I know what it's like to be at the bottom. And I don't want anybody else to feel like that. And so it's just like, you know, what can I do to actively help somebody else not feel like that, regardless of if I know what's going on with them or not.
Yep.
And so, you know, you just, you figure it out.
Absolutely. And I love it because, I mean, I think one of the most rewarding things to me after diagnosis was hearing other people say, not just that, how do I want to say, you look great for what you've gone through.
Right.
Which is great because, you know, I don't know about you, but I hated looking like cancer. I hated, like...
I lost, like, so first of all, I lost, like, a smooth 30 pounds just in the hospital. I was like, I don't know what to do with this new skinny body.
Right.
Like, I don't have...
new skinny body.
I don't have clothes for this body. Like, I don't...
I hated it. I hated
it, too. And then I didn't
like
have hair.
Yes.
And you know, it's different from, you know, not having, like, the chemo radiation body, so I can't...
Yeah, that's different.
I can't sympathize in that regard, but it is still weird to not have hair.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like, you know, I had always... Like, I'm always a person who's, like, changing my hair color, haircuts.
Yeah.
But it, like, to be like, all right, now I got this fade.
Straight fade.
I was
Caesar.
like... Yes. Like, I had waves for a little bit. I had a wave cap.
I mean, you were still rocking it though, girl.
I felt like a little light-skinned boy out in these streets. And I was like, I don't like this.
But it was temporary. It
was.
These flowing tresses
I know.
now.
This is the longest my hair been in a long time.
Girl.
I said, look, we're going to try to lift now because we got options.
But yeah, I think that's crazy though because, I mean, it's very rewarding to hear that. But to me, it's even more rewarding to hear people say that you made my day.
For sure.
Or you made me smile. Or, you know, I really needed to laugh today, so you were able to do that. Or, you know, just the little gestures that you do go a long way because, I mean, like you said, I've been low.
Right. And when you're going through treatment, those are, even in those moments, sometimes you're not able to reciprocate how much you appreciate them.
Right.
You do appreciate, you know, somebody making you a meal or driving you to an appointment or bringing you some socks. Like, my friend brought me some sweatpants when I was in the hospital. She was like, what you need? I was like, I really want some sweatpants because I don't got no pants in this hospital and it's cold. And she brought me some sweatpants and I was so appreciative. Like,
it's the little things.
The happiest I've ever been about a pair of sweatpants in my life.
I mean,
but
it makes a difference.
It does. And that's the thing where, you know, on the other side of treatment especially, you're like, how can I do something nice for somebody else? Because I know what it's like to just need that nice gesture sometimes. And so I think after you sort of more actively seek those moments out as opposed to just kind of letting them happen.
Absolutely. I think it's vital that anytime you go through anything, not just cancer, but you can go through a type of trauma. Right. You can go through abuse or like once you're good, go back and get somebody else.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, and to me, you know, having a podcast where you can have young adult cancer survivors talk about their stories, talk about how they felt then to where they are now is very vital because there are other young adult cancer survivors out there who feel like they have no one. Right. You know what I mean? Who feel like I'm the only one that's going through this or no one else understands. No, that clearly is not the case. And this is a reaching out, you know what I mean? Which is why I was so excited, you know, that you and, you know, the other, our other group members were like, absolutely, for sure. Because I think everybody's story is important. And like I said, it doesn't have to be cancer. It can be anything. Right. Anything that you faced that was a hardship or something that you had to conquer. Somebody else is going through it right now. Right. You know what I mean? And but it's important for people to see the victory in it. You know what I mean? Yes, everyone doesn't make it. Just like you said, unfortunately, you know, we had a couple people from our group pass away this year. But at the end of the day, it's still important for people to see the victory after. Right. You know what I mean? And that was my whole point and purpose. Like, to be like, okay, let's talk about your story. Let's talk about where you were, where are you now, and then what's your future, because there is life after cancer.
For sure.
Girl. Jamika! Was you on the podcast?
I know, right?
Oh my God.
Am I podcast famous now? Is that
Wait,
what
why did
happened?
Steven say, I told all my coworkers?
Yes! He
He
was like, I'm
said,
here.
so when the podcast drops, he said, let me know.
Reblog, retweet.
Right. I said, that's fine,
Reshare.
honey. Listen, get me some audience members, okay? I'm loving it. Girl, it has been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
But again, guys, it's so important that if you're going through anything, well, first of all, I hope something that we discussed, you were able to pick up some nuggets, able to, get some clarity on some things. Again, it doesn't have to be cancer. It could be anything that you're facing in life that you're finding a hardship or something that you feel like you need to conquer and get over, so to speak, or go through. There is life after. Whatever it is, there is life after. So I hope you got some good nuggets from something that we've said. I have one more question for Miss Jamika.
Uh-oh.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Okay.
And you kind of already answered it, but I just want you to answer it.
Clarify.
So, as yourself now, post-cancer,
Okay.
what advice would you give your pre-cancer self?
Like pre-cancer or like going through it, cancer?
No, pre-cancer, like before diagnosis.
It's okay to be afraid. Just because I think, and it's okay to let other people know you're afraid. Because I think, especially for me, I was definitely like a high achiever type person, and with that mentality, you always feel the need to kind of like have this strong face and like, this is what I'm gonna do and this is what's gonna happen. But there's a certain strength in being able to reveal your vulnerability and like really let other people in and help you with something. So I would say, yeah, it's okay to be afraid.
Okay.
Like, it's okay to not know what's gonna happen and to keep going.
Absolutely.
Because you just might surprise yourself. Like,
Listen, you're absolutely right, and it's so vital. I mean, especially if you're very strong-willed and someone who's used to being independent. Like my main thing is let people help you. You know what I mean?
That too.
Because I was so independent. I remember when I first moved into my place, like I got diagnosed. Like I moved in January. I was diagnosed at the beginning of February. So I was here not even a whole month.
Cancer is ignorant like that.
Ain't it?
Like, it was a month before my 25th birthday.
Isn't that crazy?
I was so mad. I was like, I can't even celebrate my 25th birthday.
Not after
now.
diagnosis. But I had just moved in, and I was still trying to lift boxes. My brother and my dad looked at me like,
Right, what you doing?
if you don't sit down, I said, I can do it. They were like, sit down, like screaming.
Like, actually, no, you can't have a
no,
seat.
actually, you cannot have a seat.
Have a seat.
So, but it was very humbling, like you said,
Yeah.
to recognize your vulnerabilities.
Woo, won't nothing humble you like cancer.
Hello, girl, because you can't do it alone. You can't. You
Not
just
at
can't. And
all.
I'm grateful for our support systems. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
And then also them being patient. You know what I mean? Because
There's definitely times where I know my family was like, she's on my nerves today. Like, I really want to cuss her out, but I know I
but
can't
love her
cuss
so
her
much,
out.
and she has cancer.
Right, like,
That's why you pulled a C card. I have cancer.
they're like, if she didn't have cancer, I'll punch her in the throat right now.
It's all right, but you still love me. Even after you punch me, you still gonna love me. Now pull up my pants. Put on my socks. Hello. But guys, again, don't pay us any attention. Put on my socks. Okay.
You're petty. I can't wait. Oh no. I wasn't ready.
But for real, we can do this all night, like legit all night. But we're gonna end right here though. Guys, thank you so much. If you've made it thus far, all the way to the end, thank you so much for rocking
Good
with your
job.
girl. Good job. Again, I hope you found something interesting and of importance to you. Hit me up again, hashtag TEJ podcast, questions, comments, and suggestions. And I will check you guys out on the next one.